this party started!
He's shining a light in the dark corners of our media.
You are fake news.
Our government.
Handling of classified documents.
And our culture.
Don't trust anyone.
It's common sense amidst chaos.
Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
Here's your host, Ike Wingate.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the show. Aren't you in the right place at the right time? We both are, and today we are going to talk about the Trump 2.0 year one anniversary. We've had an entire year of MAGA. And is our country any better, or is it worse? I think you know the answer to that. If you're being honest deep down in your soul and you're not paying attention to the liberal media out there, and you're not the kind of person that makes decisions based on emotion, but rather facts over feelings. And if you are that kind of person, you know that our country is finally headed back in the right direction. But, you know, when you pull when you run something into a ditch, sometimes, depending on how deeply you are stuck, it takes a little while to pull it out. But it is evident that we are off and rolling now. And President Trump has been addressing the nation for going on a couple hours now with all of the accomplishments from the first year. We're going to hit some of those highlights coming up, plus loads of subpoenas served in Minnesota. It's the land of 10,000 subpoenas now. I'm just going to play and run off this catchphrase the entire time. It was land of 10,000 scams, and now it's still that, but it's also land of 10,000 subpoenas. And that is not good news for people like Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz and Jacob Fry, the Cry Guy. Not good news for them, but good news for justice and accountability. For so long, people have been able to just circumvent the law. You've literally got people obstructing and impeding law enforcement right now. They're doing the exact same job that ICE did during the Biden administration, during the Obama administration. We never had any of these protests then. It's only because it's Trump. It's the only thing that's changed. People say, well, they're being so aggressive, that's why. No, they weren't being aggressive until people started assaulting them. That's a fact. You do know one of your fellow crazy, delusional, unhinged liberal comrades tried to kill ICE agents in Dallas, but he was a bad shot and actually killed some detainees. They tried to blow up a facility as well. I mean, there have been so many instances of the assault on ICE. That's illegal. It's illegal. People think that these ICE agents aren't real law enforcement. They are. I don't know who is selling this lie to these white liberal women that end up getting in harm's way and unfortunately killed. But it's a lie that ICE can't arrest you or detain you. If you are impeding their investigation, they can. They also carry guns. The partner to Renee Good said, "Why did you use real bullets?" Hello. This ain't the Truman Show. This is the real deal. And so I don't know who is spreading these lies, but they aren't your friend, and they're putting people in harm's way. ICE is a real law enforcement entity, whether you like it or not. And when people just leave them alone and let them do their jobs, you don't even notice them. And this is ridiculous propaganda that you are succumbing to on the left regarding ICE just randomly pulling people over, randomly arresting citizens. None of this is happening randomly. We have a specific case we're going to bring you where the liberal media said a U.S. citizen was detained by ICE. That's it. They leave it at that. Oh, ICE doesn't know what they're doing. They're rounding up Americans. That's not what they're doing. This particular person was harboring 2 illegal fugitives, sexual predators, and this person would not reveal who they were. You are literally aiding and abetting known criminals And you don't have the luxury of not disclosing who you are in that instance. And if you do, you're going to get detained. That's how it works. But it's a one-sided presentation. And I'm mainly saying all this for the trolls that are in the audience. If you think ICE is unilaterally targeting U.S. citizens, then you are sorely mistaken. And the lunatics continue to assault ICE officers, and they've gone into now a church, and they're going to be in big trouble. Don Lemon could be getting in trouble, too. We're going to talk about that. The Ilhan Omar investigation. Greenland purchase is gaining speed, and there's a massive snowstorm that's going to allegedly hit the United States toward the latter part of the week. A lot of stuff going on. And I'm going to tell you, I can't go into it yet, okay? I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to phase this out. That's why I was a little late coming on. I do have an announcement at the end of this show. I do have an announcement coming up at the end of this show that you will not want to miss, okay? About the future of this program. Okay? Lots of stuff to get to today. 1 year ago, everything changed. The return of strength, the return of America first, the era of winning is here, and it is just getting started. That's from the White House X feed. Make America great again. And all the liberal tears that are being shed right now from this masculine, American, winning, tough image on your screen. I've been thinking about this. One of the big reasons people have a problem with Trump is because he's a winner. He's a winner. He wins. The stuff he does, he wins, and he is confident. And sometimes he stirs the pot with saying things he shouldn't say, maybe around the dinner table or something. But that's who he is. That's who he's always been. So we can't be surprised. So he talks like a winner, he acts like a winner, and he is a winner because he gets things done. He's a winner. And the fact that he's very masculine and doesn't apologize for it makes the liberals crazy, because liberal women don't like masculine men, and liberal men have been emasculated, and they don't want to see the picture of what a man should be like. And I'm not saying President Trump is the picture of perfect picture of how every man ought to be. I'm just talking about the fact that he's masculine. Liberal women lose their mind over masculine men, and liberal men are emasculated themselves, so they don't want to see this great contrast of masculinity, and they sure as heck don't want to see masculinity winning. That destroys their whole argument. So let me ask you a question. Who doesn't like a winner? Who doesn't like a winner? Who hates everything a winner says? Who finds a problem with everything a winner says? Who makes things up to malign a winner? Who does it? Who would do that? Would a winner do that? Another winner? No, winners say, hey, I wish I could have beat you, but congratulations, because you know what it's like to win. You know what it takes to win. Hard work. No apologies. Get it done. Rewards based on merit. Winners recognize winners. Game recognizes game. But who doesn't like a winner? It's not other winners. Groovy gets it. The only people that don't like a winner are losers. That's who doesn't like a winner. Losers. They're the only ones. Bree got it as well. The only ones that hate winners to a fault. The only people that can't stand a winner are losers. This isn't me calling them a name like you're such a loser, even though you could argue that's the case as well. I'm talking literally losers. people that have never done anything remarkable in their lives, people that complain about their lives, people that blame others for the disappointments in their lives, people that just can't figure out a way to win. They're losers. They have constant loss in their lives. Now, that doesn't mean winners never lose, but winners don't let a loss become fatal. Winners keep going. Winners persevere. Winners have tenacity. They do not let a short-term shortcoming be the end-all be-all to their journey. So I'm not saying winners never fail. We do. And I'm putting myself in that category because defeat is not an option. We must strive on and continue to work hard to create the reality through God's grace that we want for us and our families. That's what winners do. That's what our country was founded upon, a winning mentality. Somewhere along the way, Marxist ideology infiltrated our country and started making it a crime to win. They started placating and targeting losers with ideology and talking points that was blaming the winners for winning and therefore creating a sympathetic environment for losers. Your life's not going the way you want. It's the white guy's fault. Your life's not going the way that you want. It's men's fault. Your life's not going the way that you want. It's your boss's fault. It's your wife's fault. It's your skin color. It's the fact that you're fat. All of these reasons to look at outward reasons or excuses for losing versus looking inward and saying, you know what? This is not going to stop me. I will not quit. I will persevere. Trusting a system that it's not perfect, but winners do rise to the top in the United States of America. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's always fair. But when you don't relent and you keep going and you don't accept defeat, at some point, they can't help but notice you. At some point, you can no longer be ignored. And winners know this. And if they don't know it, they're learning it right now. And so this mentality has been created that losing is okay. Losing is actually better than winning because winning is demonized. And in addition, along the way, being a man became a crime, and feminism has taken over so many institutions and thought processes that now if you're a man, there's something wrong. Because a lot of times the man is the breadwinner for their family historically. And so they're the easiest target for outwardly obvious winners. Not to say women aren't winners. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying from the standpoint of what's outwardly noticeable or maybe well known are maybe the accomplishments of men. But make no mistake, women make the world go round. I have never hesitated to state that. They keep it all together. If it weren't for women, we wouldn't have a society. We just wouldn't. But a lot of times the accomplishments of men are just, more well known publicly. And so they become the easiest target for the losers. And our country has evolved into a place of, it's not about meritocracy. It's about the fact that you were born a victim. And how do you get somebody else to pay for your victimhood? And then you convince these people that they're victims and that they don't have the capacity. The system is too stacked against them to win, and they'll never, ever, ever get on the other side of their loserdom. And they'll continue to vote for people that give them things and don't say things to them like personal responsibility or meritocracy or create your own destiny or things like that. They want people that tell them, yeah, you were wronged, and we're going to give you stuff to right it for you. So we've created this society, this culture, this ethos of losers, and that it is glorified to be a loser or a victim or for it to be somebody else's fault. And I bring it full circle now to President Trump, and one of the, I think maybe the top reason he is so hated is because he represents the opposite of the loser ethos. He's a winner. He doesn't apologize for it. Oh, and he's also a man, and he makes no apologies for that. Sometimes he's a bull in a china cabinet a little bit. He's masculine. And so they hate him because he represents everything they don't, and he proves all of their talking points absolutely wrong. And so they hate him for it. I've been studying this, contemplating it, thinking through it. Why do they hate this guy so much? Because he's doing good things. You might not like what he says or his style or whatever, but what is it underneath all of the sort of shallow layers that meets the eye? What is the deeper issue? And I believe that's what it is, because he's a masculine winner that makes no apologies, and it drives them crazy because it proves them wrong. Otherwise, you would not see this obsession. It's an obsession. It's an unhealthy obsession with blaming this guy for everything that you think is wrong. And when he does things that are right, that other presidents have done, that never got any grief from anybody for, he gets an unreasonable amount of grief for. It's complete hypocrisy. And it's not based on principle. It's all based on emotion. And when you can't think logically and you think and make decisions emotionally, you're going to make bad decisions. And this is all built on emotion. It's not built on facts. It's not built on data or logic or history, because if that were the case, the left would have gone bonkers during Obama's deportation efforts. Organic ICE deportations under Obama still far exceed what President Trump did in the first year. Now, there were a lot of border apprehensions, self-deportations, but just organic ICE deportations, which is what the left says that's their problem. Obama, in his largest deportation year, it wasn't even close, honestly. We're still looking at official numbers, but right now it looks like 290,000 is one number. It could be less, could be a little more for the Trump administration during 2025. And in 2012, during the Obama administration, they had 400,000 organic ICE apprehensions and deportations. Far more. Did you see people going nuts in the street? No, you didn't even know about it. You didn't hear about it. You didn't know about it. And when you did hear about it, people like CBS were presenting this as heroic. ICE is heroic. And Obama And his response is, I've got to uphold the law. I am the commander in chief. It is my job. You don't like it, go to Congress. But this is the law. So they give all of this credibility and hero status to Obama while villainizing President Trump for doing the exact same thing, but he still hasn't even gotten to those numbers in organic ICE deportations. Explain it to me. Make it make sense. Some idiot in the chat says they weren't killing people. Go look that up. ICE has only killed someone who has tried to kill them. That's the difference. You didn't have people going nuts trying to kill ICE agents. Let's ask Grok. Let's see. We'll see. When you impede law enforcement and you obstruct and you threaten law enforcement by law, whether it's bodily harm or death threats or danger of bodily harm or death, ICE has complete constitutional authority. Okay. So, let's see here. So they group them a lot of times with customs and border patrol, but there were 23 shooting deaths by ICE during the Obama administration. 23. By my count, there hasn't been that many during the Trump administration, his first term or this term. So what now? Explain it to me. Explain it to me. There's no difference, just a difference in president. There was no outrage. People going crazy, going out of their mind, running up into churches and chanting and accusing the pastor of being a member of ICE like some kind of freaking idiot. So what happened? But you know what? Let's just say there were a lot more shootings. There are a lot more illegal immigrants here. A lot more. So by the numbers, percentage-wise, you could have 100 more shootings, and they likely still wouldn't approach the percentage of shootings to illegal immigrants that happened during the Obama administration. And who do you want to say thanks to for that? And that is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They made this happen. This is not Trump's fault. This is not ICE's fault. This is the Biden administration's fault, period. And all the while, you people trying to villainize ICE are defending the worst possible criminals on the planet. People that rape and kill children. What does that say about you? You're so blinded by your Trump derangement syndrome, you're literally defending child rapists and murderers. What does that say about you? Where are your principles? It's illegal to be here. It's completely legal to apprehend these people. It's completely legal to use deadly force if officers are threatened, and it's completely legal to deport these people. It's called upholding the law. The only difference now is Trump is in office versus Obama. That's it. So your hypocrisy is on full display. You're not consistent. You have no principles, and therefore you have no leg to stand on. Thank you very much. That ends this session in me proving you wrong. All right. Now, let's continue. We got to keep going. Touting some of the wins from the past year. Ending Biden stagflation, high economic growth, GDP's on track for 5%. Scott Bessent says it could get up to 7 or 8% this year, which would be incredible. Gasoline down to $2.31 a gallon. The consumer price index is down to 1.6. Consumer pricing inflation, I think, is how that's it's consumer price index, I think, 1.6%. Real incomes went up $2,000. Stock market setting 52 record highs, $9 trillion in value to retirement incomes, $18 trillion in new investment commitments, 62% reduction in trade deficit, which is historical, and the most favored nation status. With drug prices, nobody else can get a cheaper price than the United States of America. Of course, we got a secure border now. 100% of the net jobs created have gone to American-born people. There's also been a 97% decrease in drugs coming into America. I looked at a stat the other day, and the drug overdoses have declined dramatically. Gee, I wonder why. Taking out the supply has made a huge difference. Plus, you've got 10,000 illegal alien gang members, drug dealers, murderers, child predators, human traffickers, fraudsters, savage criminals removed from the USA despite the protest from the left, because they love these kind of people. Because remember, the left loves losers. The left loves losers. We also had the largest tax cuts in history. No tax on tips or Social Security or overtime. Car interests on American-made automobile loans is now tax deductible. They also slashed the federal budget deficit by 27%. American exports up $150 billion. And 100% of the new jobs, this may be my favorite stat, 100% of the new jobs created under the first year of the Trump administration are private sector jobs. That is huge. Even with the vast reduction in federal workforce, helping create efficiency inside of our government for our taxpayer dollars, even with that, there's been stellar jobs numbers, and it is the right way to fix an economy when you're not propping it up through taxpayer government jobs. Also, no more funding for sanctuary cities, eliminating cashless bail, and bringing back mental institutions. And boy, do we need that. You know, they pretty much started shutting them down and had it done in the 90s. And all it's done is get crazier during that time. Trump also ended 8 wars, got all 20 living hostages in Gaza home to their families, rescued 83 American hostages detained abroad, caught the terrorists responsible for Abbey Gate, increased NATO defense spending to 5%, and $1 trillion in military investments. I would say that was a pretty good first year. It's actually a really great 8 years, and President Trump did it in one, as we are on the 1-year anniversary of President Trump's second inauguration. And let me tell you, despite what you've been hearing and seeing on the liberal media crap networks, Trump has turned people into real believers this time. Take a look at this from CNN.
There's that saying, Trump was right about everything, and that's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
This breakfast conversation, our 6th visit with Betsy Sarcone, dating back to August 2023. Her shift beyond dramatic. A DeSantis, then a Haley voter, said she would vote for Joe Biden if Trump won the Republican nomination. But she changed her mind.
I think Biden probably changed me more than Trump. I think watching nothing be done, for 4 years about an open border.
Now she gives Trump an A-, loves the immigration crackdown, just closed a big real estate sale, and thinks the economy is picking up. Sarcone laughed at Trump's 2020 election fraud claims when we first met. Another big change.
I'm starting to question the election of 2020, right?
He lost the election in 2020.
I don't know.
He lost the election in 2020.
The suburbs revolted against Trump in his first midterm, and Democrats are banking on it again. But Republicans don't have to worry about Sarcone. She likes Congressman Nunn and loves that her daughters can use a school choice plan passed by state Republicans.
They've done a lot of great things for us in Iowa.
Imagine that. She was skeptical of voting for Trump, wasn't going to vote for him. Did anyway because Biden didn't do freaking crap, and Kamala was just going to be even worse. So she voted for him kind of reluctantly, and now she gives him an A-, seeing real change and real positive effect from the first year of the Trump 2.0 administration. So I want to hear from you. What kind of grade would you give President Trump on his first year? Drop it in the chat. Something you can do to help us out is give us a thumbs up right now and repost the live. If you're watching on X, heart the post and repost. Make sure you're following me on X at Ike Wingate. Follow me on X at Ike Wingate or on Instagram at Ike Wingate. That is where I'm going to be consolidating everything to very soon. We love Rumble and YouTube and all those things, and we'll probably still post videos there. I'm getting ahead of myself in my announcement at the end of today's show. So make sure you are following me on X at Ike Wingate. And so I've got an announcement coming up at the end of the show today. And it's sort of a preliminary announcement. And the rest of the announcement will happen on Thursday, January 22nd, during the show that will be starting at 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay? I'll explain more at the end of the show. All right, so we got we got so many trolls in the chat on YouTube. It's hilarious. Let's see. Brenda gives a 100, an A+. 100, an A+ to the Trump year one administration. There are plenty of trolls saying he's getting an F. See, that's where you show your bias. Because if you gave him a C, then it's like, okay, that's realistic as far as a real opinion. An F is not a real opinion. Saying that Trump has failed after your gas prices have come down that much just proves that you're full of garbage, hot garbage. So you expose yourself. So I'm not even going to acknowledge you. Got plenty of TDS in the chat. But we got plenty of patriots fighting back with truth, which is always entertaining. Bree gives Trump a B. A B. Okay. So, Bree, you give him a B, and Bree is very educated and actually informed. So, I'm going to further ask questions to Bree. What do you wish he would have done that he didn't do, or what do you wish he didn't do that he did? Please let me know. John says Trump rules, number one. It's difficult to weed through. I'm trying to address the chat, but there's so much. Okay, we've got Wind Walker says B+. All right, so tell me what it would have taken to get an A. What did he not do that you would have given him an A or an A+? I mean, that gal there gave him an A- there on that piece from, and then we got Jen, who's totally uninformed. The POTUS doesn't control the prices. Really? Then why were prices so high under Biden and so low under Trump? Because he's opened up additional exploration and drilling operations to enable an increase in supply. Okay. David gives Trump an A++++. Okay, let's see. Bree, who is in the oil business, says that the drilling form is huge. He ran on drill, baby drill, and it has definitely not been that way. So there hasn't been enough drilling for Bree. What does that mean? The drilling form. The drilling form. Explain what you mean there. The drilling for me. Okay, the drilling for me is huge. Okay, you're wanting more drilling. More drilling. I mean, what about the opening up of the leases and things out on the Gulf of America? What about some of that? Maybe Bree can explain why gas has gone down so much under Trump. John says, "More ice, please. More ice, please." Okay. Uh, okay, I can't. Let's see. All right. Okay. I can't weed through some of the kids in their mom's basement, but I the oil the oil the oil filter is stacking up a ton, which is not good. So a lot of oil. I don't understand what that means. Oil fitter. I mean, oh, okay. Well, don't crash while you're driving. I mean, where things may have not totally vetted out yet for the oil and gas industry. President Trump the oil field is stacking rigs. Okay, so a lot of oil. It's kind of like Bree. It's kind of like, okay, if you're in the oil business, you don't want oil to go down too low, but if you're a consumer, you kind of do, right? That's kind of the juxtaposition there. But Trump's bullish position on backing down all of these mandates for electric vehicles and all this green crap is a big part of this as well, strategically, and not penalizing fossil fuels and removing red tape for further exploration and fracking, etc. I mean, these are all factors that affect the price of oil. And did you know the price of gasoline affects all the stuff that you buy at the store, diesel specifically. So the people who are saying that Trump got an F are full of it because they like paying lower prices, and that is precisely what has happened under the Trump administration. If you're asking me, I would give Trump probably an A minus on the first year. The things that I would like to see different are probably, some of the people in his administration I think could be stronger. I don't like how the Epstein files were handled. I think it could have been handled a lot better. And if I'm being really, really extra critical, there's been some pardons for people that have had drug offenses and fraud type things. Now, I don't know the complete backstory on some of those, but some of them I do. And when you're cracking down on drug trafficking and fraud, it just doesn't look good when you commute the sentence or pardon people that have those same types of charges. Now, there could be a backstory. He has someone that reviews every one of these situations specifically. And so he's taking their recommendation a lot. I just disagree with the person who's deciding that, who was a person who was pardoned herself under the first Trump administration. And so again, that's a little overly critical. It's just things that I don't like from the standpoint of just how they sit. Beyond that, I'm trying to think of anything that has really been a losing thing, and I don't. Nothing much comes to mind. So, I mean, the other thing is I would like to see accountability and prosecutions. Those do take time. So if you're talking about from an impatient standpoint, I wish some of those things were happening a little faster, but a lot of those things are in process. And then if I'm being really extra critical, I would like to see more deportations. There hasn't been enough. But there's also a lot of factors that are obstructing those operations. But again, let me know what you think as far as if there was something big that he didn't do or that he did do that you didn't like that prevented him from getting the A+. Now, let's take a look at Minneapolis over the weekend. This was Jake Lang. He's a conservative. He's a little bit of a conservative agitator, I would probably call him. He goes in the middle of some of the craziest situations. And so he was there sort of, I don't know if he was, I mean, he had just as much of a right to be there where the protesters were as they did. But they attacked him, beat him. I mean, they're beating him right now. The guy got beat up. Not very. I mean, I would just say he should be able to be there without them physically assaulting him. The people that say that they're about tolerance and love. He should be able to be there. But as far as like common sense goes, I don't know what else he was expecting to happen. But nonetheless, this shows you who they are. I mean, they're violent, evil people. These people on the left, these rioters, they want to call themselves protesters. They're insurrectionists, actually. Far more insurrectionists than anybody present on January 6th, by the way. And this ICE agent stops and talks to some of these people who are protesting.
Second reporting. We're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, we're not. No, we're pressed. We're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane.
Insane. You're protesting the arrest of a child sex offender. Yeah. So what do you actually stand for? You stand for child sex offenders, rapists, and murderers. That's what you stand for. Those are the principles that you stand on. I suppose when you're getting paid to be out there, then you can be bought. Your principles don't have any standing, bearing, or limitation as far as what you will or won't stand for. This is who you're protecting. This is who you are defending. In addition to this, in Minneapolis, Bill Malusian reporting that ICE agents in St. Paul, the downtown DoubleTree by Hilton, received notice today, people that were staying there, the ICE agents received notice that the rooms were canceled, the hotel temporarily closing due to heightened public safety concerns. They just closed the hotel, and the hotel says, sorry, you have no place to stay. That's how ridiculous it has gotten. And so imagine that. With all of this disruption, with all of this destruction, hotels are like, I mean, you are creating an unsafe environment for everybody in this hotel. Not the ICE agents, the insurrectionists. This is anarchy. Trump should invoke the Insurrection Act at this point. It's so far gone. And Guess who's to blame? The leadership in Minnesota for inciting all this. And then you wonder why they go and do it? You surprised?
So I would fully expect, and we are preparing for, an influx of more agents, more of the very visible public theatrics of and you got faith leaders here. I would not put it past this administration to target midnight mass services amongst folks going to worship, because that's who they are.
Interesting. This is what he said before Christmas. Oh, I bet ICE agents are going to target churches. That's who they are. That's who they are. Morally outraged over the holidays. Warning that ICE would be targeting churches. So he lays that out there, and is it any wonder that that's exactly what the left did? Going into this church in Minneapolis while people are trying to worship Jesus Christ, the King of Kings. They try to tout their First Amendment rights. It is the right under the First Amendment to be able to assemble, but even further than that, on the right.
Renee, good. Renee, good.
Freedom of religion.
Renee, good.
So they go into this church, start shouting this nonsense. Look at these people. You've got kids in here. I mean, they're lucky they didn't walk into a church in Texas or someplace like that where they probably would have gotten shot. But nonetheless, I mean, Tim Walz spelled this out, warning that ICE would come.
Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people. Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? I'm not going to comment. You have no comment. Exactly. Renee, good. Renee, good. We have a duty to move. We must love and support one another. All these comfortable white people.
All these comfortable white people, says the white guy who looks like he just crawled out of a trash can. You can see his image on the very bottom of the screen. This guy's an evil lunatic.
Who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No, Jesus would dine with immigrants. You do not touch me.
What does this guy know about Jesus?
Say it again and see what happens. Hey, you are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're
Seems like a real down-to-earth, sensible guy, right?
You're pretending to be Christians, but we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving. Shame. Out now! Out now! Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice. He wears a suit and tie and he hangs out with Kristi Noem. How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not? Why are you not going down to Whipple and joining us in protest against this inhumanity? You claim to be a Christian, act like one.
As if you know what that looks like. I mean, these people actually exercise great restraint. I actually think they did not give the protesters what they wanted. They wanted a fight. They could have created a real crazy incident. I think that's what they wanted. Somebody in the chat said, don't argue with fools. I mean, definitely there's wisdom in that. But I'd say for the safety of those protesters, they're lucky they didn't go into, a more aggressive church, maybe. But nonetheless, these people did not give them what they want. They did not give them what they wanted, which was a fight, which was some kind of incident that would go viral. And this guy screaming and yelling, acting like he's not living large. He's getting paid to walk around and scream at people because the guy has a freaking pattern of doing it. His name's William Kelly. Says he does not regret going into this church. Tells Pam Bondi to come get him.
Yesterday, I went into a church with Nakima Armstrong and I protested these white supremacists. A pastor of the church is a fucking ICE leader in the city. How can you be a fucking pastor?
Okay, sorry, I didn't warn you about the language here. But this guy, he has a nasty, nasty mouth. But this guy basically says, you're living so comfortably. It looks like he's in some nice hotel lobby or something. Of course, his hat says F Trump. I mean, totally deranged. Calling them Nazis. Says, come and get me, Pam Bondi. Just a deranged individual that wasn't hugged enough, I guess, as a child or something. And then, of course, Don Lemon was there on the scene. The guy who used to be popular until he got pushed out at CNN after there's a lot of allegations about the way this guy behaves and how he treats people. He's a really, he has a lot, his character is quite questionable. There's been some really intense accusations against him, and he is sort of floundering, trying to find relevance out there. And he participated in this disruption and said, oh, well, it's just protesting. And that, oh, I'm a journalist, while he confronted people in there, asked them questions. And when they answered in a way he didn't like, he was combative. And then he called the people in that church white supremacists on this liberal podcast.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in America, and there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are, in the religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think that they're entitled, and that entitlement comes from a supremacy, a white supremacy. And they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when I was a journalist. I do understand that I'm the biggest name there.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning,
big deal.
You and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America.
Oh, that's got to be why. That's got to be why, because you're a gay black man in America. No, you ding dong. You were with these people that were committing an illegal act, by the way, and you weren't acting like a journalist. You were acting like an activist, literally trying to get people arguing with people on the record. You weren't there as an unbiased, neutral party whatsoever. What a washed up hack that Don Lemon is. A guy who gets drunk and starts groping men in public places. That is an allegation on the record, so I can say it. I've got to be more careful, if you know what I'm saying, because I'm trying to practice restraint. Things that we know but aren't proven yet, I guess, or whatever. You gotta be careful about that. I can say this though very easily. He has a ton of character flaw accusations against him. People hated him at CNN, and that's why he doesn't have a job. And so being a gay black man had nothing to do with this. And calling these people white supremacists, there weren't just white people in that church. Okay. And, it's about being a white Christian man. If you are, then you're good, but everybody else, I mean, that's bullcrap. What people like Don Lemon don't understand, and so many people on the left, the reason why this country has things like the 10 Commandments posted and used to have prayer in schools and things like that, that it's rooted in Christianity. The founding of this country is rooted in Christianity. That's where a lot of our laws and concepts came from, and endowed by our creator with certain inalienable rights. Only civilization to do that, to recognize God. And so the foundation of this country is based on those things. And somewhere along the line, those losers we were talking about, the Marxists, infiltrated and started saying that that was wrong. Well, at that point, someone should have said, if you don't like it, go to another country that is based on different beliefs. But that's what this country is based on. And it doesn't mean that you have to be a Christian to live here, but you have to be okay with adhering to a Christian moral standard in the laws of society. Because that's what's special about this country. And Don Lemon's theory is, that's racist, that's bigoted. No, not at all. It has nothing to do, literally, it's just a matter of treating people with respect and doing everything that you said you were going to do and respecting the law. Lucky says they think men can get pregnant. So, there's no reasoning with them. But that's not a bigoted point of view. That is stating what this country was founded upon and what makes it unique. There's no reason for that to change just because you don't like it. President Trump commented on Don Lemon being part of this disruption earlier today.
Mental institutions from where they came. That's all they want to do. They're patriots, and they have to be abused by guys like Don Lemon, who's a loser, lightweight. I saw him the way he walked in that church. It was terrible. I have such respect for that pastor. He was so calm. He was so nice. He was just accosted. What they did in that church was horrible yesterday. Look at his ear.
He's exactly right. The pastor was as cool, calm, collected, kind. That's a very hard thing to do. I don't think you're going to find that response from anyone but true Christians in the face of that kind of ridiculousness. But Don Lemon is a lightweight. Now, when we talk about the propaganda that is being pushed out there by the left, take a look at this situation. This liberal hack, Matt McDermott, citing a story from Reuters saying, yesterday, Reuters captured ICE breaking down a door and dragging a man out half naked into the freezing cold in St. Paul. According to his sister-in-law, they returned him after realizing he's a naturalized U.S. citizen with no criminal record. Okay, so the story is ICE breaks down the door of a citizen and has to return him later, and he's half naked in the cold, realizing he's a citizen. Right? People read this and say, oh my gosh, ICE is the Gestapo. What's wrong with them? Well, ding-a-ling, maybe take in the entire account before you judge and rush to judgment. Here's the real story. ICE conducted a targeted operation of 2 convicted sex offenders. One of the criminal targets had convictions for sex with a minor and sexual assault. The other target had convictions. These are illegal immigrants, by the way, with warrants. The other targeted with convictions, even. The other target had convictions for sex assault with penetration in the first degree, domestic violence, and violating a protective order. Both also have convictions for failure to register as sex offenders. These are the people that are living amongst you. And in addition to all of those things, they also have final orders of removal from an immigration judge. They've had their due process, as they like to say, due process. Guess what? The citizen, the U.S. citizen that we're talking about that was returned, lives with these two degenerates at that place where the operation took place. The individual refused to be fingerprinted or facially ID'd. He matched the description of the targets. And as with any law enforcement agency, it's standard protocol to hold all individuals in a house of an operation for safety of the public and law enforcement. They didn't know who the dude was. He wouldn't say who he was. And he was keeping the company of criminals. Now, here's the interesting thing is they went in to get these guys. Those guys weren't there. This guy was. Both of these predators are still at large in St. Paul. But that's why they took this guy in, because he fit the description. He was at the same house where those sexual predators live. And so they took him in to try to figure out who he was. And then when he wasn't who they were investigating, then they returned him. That's how the law works, you pansies. That's how it works. But again, if you are just reading liberal garbage, the way that this story was presented was they broke down the door of an American citizen. Every one of these scenarios has a very lawful, good reason behind why it happened. But they don't present that when they're trying to indoctrinate and spread propaganda. All right, here's a clip from a podcast talking about Barack Obama's ICE chief. The chief of ICE under Barack Obama got an award for 920,000 removals. How about that? He got an award. Donald Trump's ICE chief gets called a Nazi. Why is that? Here's the ironic thing and the evidence of hypocrisy. Guess what? It's the same guy, Tom Homan. Tom Homan was Barack Obama's ICE chief, and he got an award for 920,000 removals. But now that it's Tom Homan, same guy, doing the same job under President Trump, he's called a Nazi. How's that for hypocrisy?
Obama's ICE chief gets an award for 920,000 removals. Trump's ICE chief is called a Nazi. Same guy, Tom Homan, was in charge of it for Obama. Obama deported in 2012 409,000 people. Trump in 2025, 290. Wow. You got to do the math. It's so frustrating because, like you said, they've taken such an anti-Trump administration position that no matter what he does, even if it is in the name of good intentions, the problem is Minnesota is a sanctuary state. So because they're a sanctuary state, they do not cooperate with ICE. They can arrest somebody for a violent crime, have them in jail, and they release them on the street. And so ICE is forced to go get these people in the streets.
Yeah, and their law enforcement is not helping create and keep the peace. And you have the leadership out there inciting people. And again, these agents are doing the same job they've been doing for years. It's just only now Trump is in office. What's interesting is the New York Times has this story out today. How many people has Trump deported so far? And they go through here. They say, they talk about the numbers. How are they counted? Counting deportations is not as straightforward as it seems. This is kind of a helpful explanation. Because there's not a specific legal definition of deportation, the New York Times analyzed data from a variety of government sources to make these estimates of both the deportations and the broader category of repatriations since President Trump took office. Deportations can be conducted by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, which is responsible for enforcement inside of the country. Customs and Border Protection is responsible for deportations and apprehensions at the border, at airports, and other crossing points. So for some deportations, both agencies are involved. Okay, that gives you kind of an idea of what we're talking about here. Okay. As we keep going here, basically, so here's the funny line in here. Why is immigration enforcement receiving so much more attention now? Under President Trump, immigration arrests and deportations are much more visible and disruptive to communities across the country. The administration has also aggressively publicized its enforcement actions with a steady stream of slickly produced videos, memes, and mugshots. So they're saying it's because it's more visible and disruptive. It's not. It is not more visible and disruptive. Now, you could say the videos they're making, okay, I'll give you that one. But the only reason it's disruptive is it's disruptive to the disruptors who are there on the ground to disrupt. You understand? If it weren't for all of these anarchists, these insurrectionists impeding and obstructing, you wouldn't see the attention on this. And they basically spell it out. You only seeing the disruption because of all the obstructionists. That's it. Now, what's interesting is they looked at deportations by select groups, and they compared Biden to Trump. Biden in 2024. What they left off of here is Obama, nicknamed the deporter-in-chief, who still holds the record for ICE deportations in a year by a lot. By a lot. Again, this is, we've just spent the last hour and 11 minutes, or maybe hour and 6 minutes, exposing your hypocrisy. Exposing your hypocrisy. We got polling out now by, who is it? McLaughlin and Associates. 1,500 registered voters from January 8th through the 13th. And those results indicate that Americans trust the Republican Party on the economy and inflation by 6+ points, tariffs by 2+ points, immigration by 11+ points, and they trust Republicans on border security by 28 points. Again, don't let the liberal media or these losers in the chat convince you that this is wrong. This is what the American people want. They want deportations. They want a safe country. They don't want people defending the rights of murderers, child rapists, predators, rapists, did I already say that one? And the like. They don't want it. They want them out of their community. That's what we want. We want more of it, in fact. Now, when you go to the videos that they put out of ICE, and you say, well, that's because they're escalating. Look, a big part of this, actually, is self-deportations. They put out the videos to make the public aware, make these illegal immigrants aware, and to put a little fear in them that if they don't get out voluntarily, ICE is coming for them. This is a good strategy. You could say that it is, ramping up the temperature or whatever, escalating things. It's actually meant to be a deterrent. And deterrents are one of the most efficient ways to do anything. So as a deterrent, putting out these videos, the hope is to inspire and motivate illegal immigrants that are here to go ahead and self-deport, because then they have a chance to come back in legally. They also get paid to leave. At one time, it was $1,000. I believe it's actually more than that. You just leave. You get money. Go. It's still way more cost-effective for the United States to pay people to leave than to pay people to go round them up and then deport them. Leave on your own accord. And so that's the purpose of the videos. And it's been very effective. allegedly 2 million self-deportations. I mean, that's actually how you make a huge dent in all of this much faster and much more economically responsible. And that's what those videos are for. Now, the thing is, when you're dealing with crazy people, logic never, ever holds up. Logic never really works. In other words, because they don't make decisions based on logic. They make decisions based on feelings. So if somebody produces a video that riles them up, it's not the video's fault. It's because they're looking for a reason to be mad at Trump. And you can say, well, if we didn't put out the videos, then they wouldn't get violent. That's just not true, because somebody else would come along and put something out that riles them up and tweaks their feelings. So should you not do it when it's really effective at a super efficient way of getting mass deportations to happen? Oh, and giving people a chance to come back in if they do it right. If you get deported, you don't get a chance. And so I would say the videos are a great strategy in that regard. Okay. Help us out. Hit the thumbs up on this live and repost. Hit the thumbs up and repost right now. I believe Bree has reposted. I haven't seen a notification of anybody else. David Sling. Yeah, David Sling. Which is great. Thank you very much. Also, if you're watching on X, heart the post and repost. Heart the post and repost. Make sure you're following me at Ike Wingate. Ike Wingate on X. My username is on the bottom of the screen. And then, of course, on Instagram as well at Ike Wingate. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with an investigation into Ilhan Omar. This is what I've been waiting on. These kinds of things, and they're coming. We'll tell you about it next.
Oh, hey. Didn't see you there. Well, just hanging out on the farm here. You know, one thing I was thinking about this morning is, when's the next crisis going to hit? It's not really a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And we really can't rely on the government to take care of a shortage or something like that. We just got to take care of ourselves. You remember back in COVID, you tried to go to the store and everything was gone? Well, you can't risk that kind of thing. That's why I suggest My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithike.com and get your 4-week emergency food kit. Save $50 when you use my URL. Again, it is preparewithike.com. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. And the question is, when it does happen, will your family eat? Make sure there's no question about it. Take action now. Save $50, 4-week emergency food kit, preparewithike.com. Fourscore and 7 years ago, there used to be men in this country. Now this country's full of a bunch of weenie men. You think about all the stuff that's in the water, plastics, microplastics, there's estrogen everywhere. In fact, compared to 100 years ago, men have half the testosterone that they used to. Look, it's not like getting shot in the back of the head. All you need to do is take chalk once every day, and you can boost your testosterone for fun things that require your energy, like working out or playing sports or actually spending time with your kids. I wish I could do that, but I can't because I'm dead. But if I were alive, I would take chalk. The Patriots at Chalk combine the most powerful herbal extracts, so it's all natural, giving you that lift that you need. George, come spot me.
Well, Abe, if I too were alive, I'd gladly spot you.
It's time to boost your testosterone to levels not seen since 1776 or 1860 or 1864, whatever. But it's herbal. It's natural. It's made in the USA. It's been clinically studied to boost testosterone. We're talking about chalk. Okay? Stop being all weird with this trends and everything else. We didn't have that back in my day. We had real men. It's time to get boosted back to those levels when men were men and women were women and there wasn't anything in between. Right, Mary?
Yes, Lincoln.
That's right. Get chalk. IkeWingate.com. Get chalk. If you want to be like me, get chalk. except for the dead part. Okay, IkeWingate.com.
Hey there! Tired of watching your subscription costs climb higher and higher? With Q Broadcast, you get more for less. All your favorite channels and content bundled into one unbeatable package. No contracts, no hidden fees, just simple, affordable streaming. Say goodbye to overpriced services and hello to a new era of entertainment. This is streaming the way it should be. Q Broadcast, this changes everything.
You can sign up for Q Streaming today at IkeWingate.com. Just click Get Q Streaming to start streaming tons of channels, video on demand, even pay-per-view, all for the same price. It's all included. This is a Christian conservative-owned company that does not hate your values. Stop giving money to the cabal of big tech. Support companies that support your values. Right now at IkeWingate.com, just click Get Q Streaming.
Big tech tries to censor him, but he won't back down. Now back to the Ike Wingate Show.
All right, welcome back into the show. Make sure you heart the post and repost. If you're watching on X, make sure you are following me on X at Ike Wingate. And, of course, all the other platforms, hit the thumbs up and repost. We got a big announcement coming up at the end of today's show, so you don't want to miss that. Some big news for the Vance family. Usha Vance is pregnant with their fourth child. Everyone is doing well. It looks to be a boy, expected in late July. So there you go. Another Vance child, a fourth little Vance. So congratulations to JD and Usha Vance for that gift. That's pretty cool. Okay, what else? If you'd like to support what we're doing here financially, help us cover our costs, you can do so using Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. You can give a contribution, $5, $10, $20, and I'll announce your name. $5, $10, $20. You can do that by Cash App or Venmo at IkeReport.com. IkeReport.com. Go there now and do that. We have our unique links set up for Cash App and Venmo there. And did I get it all? I think I got it all, right? Okay. Let's talk about Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar, the Somalian congresswoman in Minnesota. Take a look.
$1 million. The question is how? This woman Ilhan Omar's net worth went up nearly $30 million. The question is how? Here's what we know. Omar's husband, a former political consultant, owns a venture capital firm based in Washington, D.C. and a winery in California. Take a look at these numbers. In 2023, Omar disclosed a maximum of $50,000 in assets at the winery. The next year, Dana, that number increased to $5 million. Meanwhile, her husband's company, Rose Lake Capital, reported a maximum of $1,000 in assets in 2023. The next year, it was $25 million. Despite that, Omar denied being a millionaire earlier this year, posting on X, quote, "I barely have thousands, let alone millions."
Okay, so let's recap the numbers here.
Here, it was $25 million. Despite a maximum of $1,000 in assets in 2023, the next year, it was $25 million. Despite that, Omar denied being a millionaire earlier this year, posting on X, quote, "I barely have thousands, let alone millions." House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer tells Fox News an investigation is underway, writing, quote, "The committee is working on addressing ethics concerns regarding Representative Omar and her spouse, and we hope to have an update soon."
How do you go from a $1,000 net worth to a $25 million net worth in 1 year on a $175,000 a year salary? It's mathematically impossible unless you win the lottery. I'm not aware that she won the lottery. Maybe she won the lottery. But other than that, what other legal reason could there be?
But Omar says she's being targeted.
Ever since I've gotten to Congress, they have been doing these sort of weird ethics investigations. None of them have yielded anything because I have been as transparent as I can be.
Of course, others see it differently. Elon Musk says Omar committed fraud, while President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, "She should be in jail or even a worse punishment, sent back to Somalia." Omar authored the Meals Act in 2020, which loosened oversight on food programs during COVID. Federal prosecutors say one of those programs, Feeding Our Future, stole $250 million through fake meal sites. We did reach out to Omar as part of this story, but so far we have not heard back, Dana.
Okay. She authored the Meals Act, and under that act to provide meals for kids, tons of fraud occurred. She authored the bill. By the way, one of the people who was convicted of fraud using the Meals Act worked on her campaign. Yeah. Another owned the restaurant where she hosted her victory party. Circumstantial, I'm sure. Right? $1,000 net worth. And then what was the husband? What did his net worth go to?
In California. Take a look at these numbers. In 2023, Omar disclosed a maximum of $50,000 in assets at the winery. The next year, Dana, that number increased to $5 million. Meanwhile, her husband's company, Rose Lake Capital, reported a maximum of $1,000 in assets in 2023. The next year, it was $25 million. Despite that, Omar denied being a millionaire earlier this year.
Okay. So there's something very suspicious there, is there not? Here is the confirmation that the FBI has now served subpoenas, not to her. She's being investigated by the House Oversight Committee, but the FBI is investigating Governor Tim Walz's attorney. This Attorney General, Keith Ellison, man, he is one of the worst of the worst. He literally was caught on tape helping these fraudsters. Also subpoena delivered today to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry in this investigation. Take a look.
To that, I want to get to the breaking news we have just heard. The FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Walz. We will bring you more information as we get it on those subpoenas. Meantime, the number of protesters out here at the federal building is diminishing every day, it seems, but the war of words between local officials and the Trump administration.
Okay. Got the subpoenas delivered, the land of 10,000 subpoenas. Let me tell you, just from what I've seen that's out there in the ether, that's provable, some people are going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble. All right. Let's look real quick here at the World Economic Forum. Okay. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, showed up in shades. Why is he wearing sunglasses? Did his wife beat him or something?
Cooperation gives way to relentless competition. Competition from the United States of America through trade agreements.
He's wearing aviators
that undermine our export interests, demand maximum concessions.
This is at Davos.
Concessions, and openly aim to weaken and subordinate Europe, combined with an endless accumulation.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there, what the reason is. I haven't seen a reason. Maybe he just wants to look cool, or maybe he has a black eye. He is trying to hide. Okay. Let's see here. Greenland is on the table. Greenland's on the table. Trump is obviously in the middle of the art of the deal right now. NATO, for 25 years, warned Denmark about the growing threat in the Arctic. 25 years. Russia and China have been encroaching. They've been watching. They've been positioning. Denmark did nothing. Now that Trump is saying America needs to secure Greenland, those same elites pretend this came out of nowhere. It didn't. Greenland's on the crossroads of Arctic missile routes, Russian naval movement, Chinese strategic expansion and the northern gateway to North America. This is about the defense of the Western Hemisphere. NATO knew about this. They did nothing. Denmark did nothing. And then Davos, this whole group of elites that come together, they're nervous because he has exposed this great vulnerability the president has. And he wants complete control of the country.
Is important to you. Why are you upset about NATO allies thinking that, more seriously in Greenland by holding military exercises?
Well, that wasn't a military. They sent a few people. And they say they sent them not for me, but to guard against Russia. But, NATO's been warning Denmark for about 20 years now, longer than that, 25 years. They've been warning Denmark about the Russian threat. And it's not only Russia, it's also China. So we'll see what happens. But let's put it this way. It's going to be a very interesting Davos.
A very interesting Davos. Yeah, indeed. It'll be very interesting when President Trump speaks there and exactly what happens. When you look at the Arctic, okay, a lot of people look at it, oh, well, it's way up there. Well, it's not. It's not way up there. It's basically a landmass in between us and Russia, okay? If you go, sort of straight up, straight north, Greenland is in between. That's why it's so strategic. As a placement for deterrence from missile attacks, that is where a key real estate placement would take place for this golden dome that President Trump wants to build. Okay, and so obviously you got Canada right here, Alaska's over here, Russia's over here, Greenland over here, the U.S. is down here, and if you wanted to fire missiles from Russia, some kind of golden dome setup here would make a huge difference. And they've been encroaching, and this is what's interesting is Greenland is closer, or just about as close to the United States as it is to Denmark, which is kind of funny. And so there's no reason that Denmark, who can't defend it, should be controlling it. Now, I get it. I think that we should buy it. I don't think that we should just take it. But we're talking about national security. I mean, don't push Trump to his breaking point because he will just take it. So take the money. Take the money. And, I mean, people of Greenland will be better off, right? And I think Trump, he has put out there that it must be complete control of Greenland, as in Greenland owned, as in the United States owns Greenland. And there's been pushback on that. Now, what I believe is taking place right now is part of the art of the deal, where he's positioning as he wants the maximum possibility to happen, and he won't accept anything but that. And I don't think I think he would accept something less than that, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, Democrats staying true to form in the Virginia House, state of Virginia. The Democrats there introduced a bill to eliminate mandatory minimum sentencing for rape, manslaughter, assaulting a law enforcement officer, possession and distribution of child porn, and all repeat violent felonies. They have introduced a bill to eliminate mandatory minimum sentencing. They don't want minimum sentences for these heinous crimes. What they would like is for these criminals to not have to do any time at all. They want lawlessness. That's what they want. So think about this. Virginia Democrats are literally going to bat for rapists, people that commit manslaughter, assault on a law enforcement officer, possession and distribution of child pornography, and all repeat violent felonies. They don't want mandatory minimum sentencing, and they have introduced a bill as such in the Virginia House. This shows you exactly who they are. They are friends to rapists and people that have child porn and repeat violent felons. Indefensible. Indefensible that you wouldn't want, that you'd create a bill to take away a minimum mandatory sentence. There's no defending it. It's sick, my friends. Very sick. All right. Like I said, big announcement coming up shortly. Here's an interesting article that came out that caught my eye. This is from Zarathustra. Political scientists and data quants have been telling us this for half a decade. Women have moved radically left at a scale and speed with no modern precedent, while men have, on the whole, remained largely steady and unchanged. So men have sort of been in this gap from liberal to more conservative. And women have continued to go further and further left. Now, they've come back a little bit here. But the pattern is that the next couple years, it'll spike into uber liberalism for women. I believe, is this from Bill Ackman? I'm trying to give credit to where it's due, but the writing here is most answers have been tribal. Women are emotional or surface level, social media bad. Neither traces the actual mechanism. Let me try. First, notice what Wanye pointed out. We've been told for a decade that men are radicalizing to the right and that this is dangerous. The actual data shows the opposite. Men barely moved. Women moved 20 points left. The story we are told is exactly inverted from reality. When female leftward movement does get discussed, it's framed as progress. Women becoming more educated, more independent, more enlightened. They'll tell you that the graph shows enlightenment and progress, but the author says that's wrong. The graph shows what's known as capture. Capture. And by the way, this is not just an American pattern, it's a global pattern. The Financial Times documented it last year. The gender ideology gap is widening across dozens of countries simultaneously. Isn't that odd? Maybe it's in the water. UK, Germany, Australia, Canada, South Korea, Poland, Brazil, Tunisia. Young women moving left on social issues. Young men either stable or drifting right slightly. This matters because it rules out explanations that are specific to American politics. It's not Title IX policy. It's not Me Too. It's not the culture war on U.S. campuses. Something bigger is happening, something that rolled out globally at roughly the same time. Author pointing out that South Korea is the extreme case. Young Korean men are now overwhelmingly conservative in South Korea. Young Korean women, though, are overwhelmingly progressive. The gap there in South Korea is even wider than the U.S. contributing factor. The U.S. contributing factors, including mandatory military service for men. Hold on. I read that wrong. The gap there is even wider than the U.S., period. Contributing factors in South Korea include mandatory military service for men, which is 18 months, but women are exempt, as well as the brutal economic competition. But the timing of divergence still tracks with smartphone adoption. Interesting. So what is it? Women evolved in environments where social exclusion carried enormous survival costs. You can't hunt pregnant. You can't fight nursing. Survival required the tribe's acceptance, their protection, their food sharing, their tolerance of your temporary vulnerability. millions of years of this, which I don't agree with that, men face different pressures. Hunting parties gone for days, exploration, combat. As a man, you had to tolerate being alone, disliked, outside the group for extended periods. Men who could handle temporary exclusion without falling apart had more options, more risk-taking, more independence, more ability to leave bad situations. I'm trying to get to the actual theory here. So, hold on. Let me look at what they say here. It shows up in the research. Cultures found the same pattern everywhere. Women average higher agreeableness, higher neuroticism, which is sensitivity to negative stimuli, including social rejection cues. Men, though, average higher tolerance for disagreement and social conflict. The differences aren't huge, but they are consistent across every culture studied, that men are okay or more okay than women. They have a higher tolerance for disagreement and social conflict. Women have higher agreeableness and higher sensitivity to stimuli. They're more sensitive. We understand that. So environments affect men and women differently. The machine and the theory here is social media is a consensus engine. You can see what everyone believes in real time. Disagreement is visible, measurable, and punishable at scale. The tribe used to be 150 people. Now it's everyone you've ever met, plus a world of strangers that are watching online. Facebook launched in 2004, but was college only till 2006. Look at this graph. The iPhone launched in June of 2007, Instagram in 2010. Suddenly, social media was in your pocket and in your face all day. These are the number of smartphones. So you look at this graph, and women are roughly stable through the early 2000s. Look at this graph. When does it really change for women? Pretty big spike starting in 2005 into 2008, holding steady at that higher number through 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. It's on the rise. Takes a huge jump in 2014. Another huge jump in about 2018. Another huge jump in 2020. And so the theory here is social media and the smartphone. Because women want to be agreeable, they don't want to be excluded. Men tend to deal better with that than women. And so it's created this groupthink, and liberalism has taken over so many minds of women. Now, the machine, as this person points out, wasn't designed to capture women specifically. It was designed to capture attention. That's what the smartphone is. But it captures people more susceptible to consensus pressure. You understand what that is? Pressure to be part of the consensus. Women are more susceptible on average, so this phenomenon captured women more. Plus, women complain more than men. Scroll any platform, it looks like women are suffering more. Institutions respond to this because visible distress creates liability, PR risk, and regulatory pressure. In addition, women are seen as the victim in most scenarios. The institutional response is to make environments safer, which means removing conflict, which means censoring disagreement, which means the consensus only strengthens. So again, it's pointing out here, this radical push to the left is because women are more susceptible to consensus, the pressure of consensus, and because they want to be included or don't want to be on the outs, so many of them, except for the strong women who can think for themselves, who are pretty much conservative, they have been captured by this because they don't want to be looked at as a bad guy or, on the wrong side of history or some kind of bigot or something. It's really interesting how that coincides with social media and the smartphone. Anyway, thank you for indulging me, those of you that stayed with the program, just as a way to try to understand this widening gap between the mindset of men and women. All right, brace yourself for a wide-ranging winter storm producing great swaths of heavy snow, says the National Weather Service, plus sleet and treacherous freezing rain from the southern Rockies and Plains and Mid-South starting Friday and shifting toward the East Coast through Sunday, and then allegedly getting very cold after that. So we see the entire United States in the Southeast into the Northeast is potentially affected to some degree or another. Okay. And let's see here. Yeah, we look at the impacts and disruptions. It looks like middle to eastern Tennessee into North Carolina, South Carolina, into Virginia, Washington, D.C., and to an extent, those are the hardest hit areas as far as prediction right now. So anyway, brace yourself, my friends, for this potential winter weather storm, okay? Debbie says, first time seeing you. Great show. Well, thank you, Debbie. It's a great time to find me. We've been doing this for 3 years, and I have a big announcement on the future of the show coming up. I don't know if Bree is still around, but your favorite subject, Bree. Congress moving to make daylight savings time permanent.
Daylight saving time permanent in the bringing forward as early as possible. To lose an hour of sleep. That's the earliest possible start date since national law mandates the clocks change on the second Sunday of March. And on Capitol Hill, Congress is looking at those two bills that aim to make daylight saving time permanent in the U.S. President Trump has urged lawmakers in the past to do away with the time change. So our first official spring story of 2026.
Okay. So they are looking to make daylight saving time permanent. It looks like right now that basically when we set the clocks forward, it's still hard to believe it's 2026 because I'm thinking, coming up in the spring. Well, we're in January, toward the latter part of January. We're not that far away. We're 2 months away from spring, but, a month and a half away from the time to set the clocks forward, which then allows for an extra hour of daylight at the end of the day. And so it's looking like that would be the last time we change the clocks. And that would mean that daylight saving time is permanent, giving us an extra hour at the end of the day. And that's where it would stay. That is my preference. I know it's not the preference of those that get up and work early in the morning. And they say, the downside to it is, people waiting for the bus in the dark. Well, depending on the part of the country you're in, that's already happening. It's dark in the morning. You're waiting for your bus. Depending on when you get on the bus. And so I would say, I don't see that as, an issue that would be solved by removing daylight saving time. But I would at least be better off with some kind of change versus no change because I'm tired of it moving around. It's freaking ridiculous. It's dumb. It messes with your sleep. It messes up everything. It takes a week to get acclimated. But my preference would be that when we spring forward March 8th, that we never touch our clocks again. And if you have one of those clocks that's hard to reach, forget about it. My mom has this big clock. You can't reach it from the ground. I always have to go set it correctly. By this theory, I wouldn't have to touch it again, right? All right. Before we get to our big announcement, let's get to today's Triggered Liberal.
It's time for today's Triggered Liberal.
All right, this is a teacher in Minnesota. She has a meltdown over the Renee Good shooting, insulting a student, falsely claiming the ICE officer was not in danger, and the student clapped back. Just because you're yelling doesn't mean you're winning. That is something that liberal white women have a hard time learning.
His move should have been to go like this if he was really afraid. Your job as a police officer is to de-escalate.
A split second.
No, he had no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
She was not. I'm not going to argue with you.
You're arguing right now. You're arguing.
Because watch the video. He was not in
Just
danger.
because you're yelling doesn't mean you're winning an argument. Just because you're yelling doesn't mean you're winning. Guys.
Yeah. Just because you're alive doesn't mean you are intelligent.
It sucks that she got shot, but it's a split. You have a split second.
Yeah.
You're gonna take that? She's fucking stupid.
All right, just because you're alive doesn't mean you're intelligent, basically, is what the teacher said. These are the kind of people that are teaching your children in these public schools, guys. I mean, she can have her opinion, but she's literally arguing with a student who has a different opinion. What kind of example is that? Oh, and by the way, it's wrong. If you just looked at one angle of the video from on the street, from behind the vehicle, you could say it looked like the guy wasn't in danger. But if you watch the other angle where the officer is, you can see the car hits him. If you watch the video that the officer who was hit recorded, then you have no other conclusion but to arrive at the fact that the guy's life was in danger. He did not know what that woman was going to do, and she continued to resist and not do what they asked. So what gave them any reason to believe that she wasn't going to kill them because she had not obeyed any of their orders? She was obstructing. She was impeding a federal operation. She ignored officers. She resisted arrest. And then she pointed her car at the guy, and her lover said, "Drive, baby, drive." And she spun the wheels, hitting the guy, and he reacted so fast that liberal white women can't understand how that's possible, and they blame him. When your life is in danger and you are trained to respond and you have nearly died already in a similar incident, then you're going to react very fast. It's not the fault of the officer, the ICE agent, for responding faster than you can understand. It's not the ICE agent's responsibility. It's the person in the vehicle's responsibility to adhere to what is being instructed for them to do. And the lover of the woman shot, which again, it's a tragedy. It's horrible. The fact that makes it worse than everything is it didn't have to happen. It was totally avoidable. But the lover said, "Why did you use real bullets?" It's like these people think they're playing a game. Maybe they never learned. When an officer gives you instruction, do it. Live to fight another day and fight it in court. But on the street is not the place to litigate, and it certainly is never a good idea to drive into a law enforcement officer. You must assume the worst if you're the law enforcement officer. Otherwise, you end up dead at some point. And this indoctrinated liberal white woman, Karen, whose real name is Heather Abramson, is indoctrinating these children and telling them basically they're stupid because they have a different point of view than her. And then she starts yelling at them. Watch the video. Watch the video. These are the people who are teaching the children out there. These are the people. These people who are drug into the consensus mechanism from social media, like we were talking about with that graph. They don't have the strength to think for themselves, like our beautiful, lovely, strong conservative women. They're indoctrinated. They're susceptible to this misplaced, toxic empathy. And unfortunately for Renee Good, it got her killed.
It's time for today's Triggered Liberal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I wanted to let you know that this Thursday is going to be my last show on this channel. This Thursday, the last show for the Ike Wingate show. I will tell you what's next on Thursday's show. So if you want to hear it, see it live, you'll have to tune in to Rumble or X or YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, any one of our channels that you can find at IkeReport.com. Whatever you're watching on right now, we will stream out live at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday on this channel. I know there are some of you that have watched it a little bit later on the Right Side Broadcast Network. So that's why I'm telling you, if you want to get the announcement live, we will make it during the show on Thursday, January 22nd. Thursday, January 22nd at 3 p.m. Eastern time during that show. That will be my last and final show. But let me tell you, this is not us giving up. This is not us backing down. This is not a failure. This is a huge win. And those of you that have been with this show for some time are part of that. You are part of that win. You are a huge part of it. I'm excited. I can't even begin to tell you. It hasn't even sunk in where and what we're going to be doing next. Thanks to your support and encouragement for such a long time here, going at it day after day after day for the last 3 years. It's been a sweet season. It's also been a very hard season. But when you see and you look in the rear view while also having the advantage of knowing what's in the windshield, it's really an incredible journey to look back on. And so we will be telling you where and what is happening next. You don't want to miss it. It's happening in the show starting on Thursday, January 22nd, 3 p.m. Eastern time. 3 p.m. Eastern time. I cannot announce. I thought I was going to be able to announce it today. I have not been given final approval, but enough things happened today for me to be able to say it definitively. I just cannot announce it yet. Okay. And so it's huge. It's a big deal. It's the dream of a lifetime, my friends. It really is. And there were plenty of days that I doubted, but you lifted me up and spurred me on. You know who you are. And I'm so glad that we kept going. I'm so glad that we kept going. It is a tough place to try to grow audience on social media because they change the rules on you almost every day. We had a pretty large following of 80,000 people on TikTok, and they pulled the rug right out from under us. Just deleted our channel twice with no explanation and no option to change it. And those things frustrate you when you are working on borrowed real estate where people change the rules on you day in and day out. And so there were times where I thought I was going crazy and that I was crazy for trying to do this. But it was always the means to an end, some kind of larger platform, and that is what we have found. And so it is not goodbye. It's just farewell for a little while until you see me in a different spot. And that is what's going on. So you know, people in the chat saying they're going to miss the show. I appreciate that. If you were happy to see me go, well, then you would just be a troll. But I'm humbled to see your comments there like that. But it doesn't mean that you won't be seeing me anymore. It's just a different place in which you will, and a different environment, and it's a big deal. As far as this studio goes, this Thursday will likely be the last time you see me broadcasting from this studio. So I'm feeding you some hints. And I will tell you what it is on Thursday, okay? I'm not going to drag this out. I would have just gotten straight to it today, but got to do it the right way. Got to do it the right way, okay? So it's not goodbye. It's just I'll see you in a different place. I'm not dying. So anyway, I can't say anymore. I hope you tune in on Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central on whatever channel you happen to be watching on now. But I will tell you, for the future, if you want to go ahead and plan, follow me on X and follow me on Instagram. That is where I'm going to be pushing people. We likely will be, there's some of these channels that we may shut down for certain reasons. But X and Instagram, we definitely will keep. So please follow me there. I know if you don't have X, follow me on X, get X. It's a great place. It's much different than it used to be. And then follow me on Instagram to get some more. I'm going to start doing some more behind the scenes type content, personal, life content to an extent. I'm very private, just because I don't want to be exploited, and I don't want to take chances with security. I would love to be able to show you lots of things, but they're just protections that I have to keep in place. But there's plenty of room to still, be safe, allow my family to be safe, and at the same time, sharing a little bit more about what goes on here. Okay. I think we'll keep locals going. Bree's asking about locals. My question is if I can shut the Rumble channel down, but keep locals from a technical standpoint. That's what I'm unsure of. And so I'm going to try to explore that in the meantime. That way I can give you a definitive answer. We're not going to shut anything down, though, this week. It'd probably be next week. We want to allow people to see the last show and understand what happened to Ike, where he went, what he's doing. And, but at some point that's coming, which is why I'd really want to encourage people to find me on X or on Rumble. Not Rumble, X or Instagram. See, old habits die hard. X or Instagram. My handle is Ike Wingate. You can see it on the bottom of your screen. It's the same handle on X as on Instagram. Okay, and if you're ever confused, then you can go to IkeReport.com. Somebody on YouTube is saying, "Are you going to go work with Director Patel?" That's a good one. I will go ahead and clear that up. I am not taking Dan Bongino's old job. I am not taking Dan Bongino's old job as assistant director of the FBI. Close. So close, but not quite. Okay. We'll clear it all up on Thursday. So tune in. I know a lot of you don't catch it live. Try to catch it live. Try to catch it live if you can on Thursday. Again, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, right here on the same platform that you're watching. Thursday, January 22nd, for the final show here on the Ike Wingate Show. That is weird to say. I'm going to try not to get upset. Try to keep it together. It's just one of those things. When you've been in the trenches day in, day out, you've sort of dreamed of the day that you'll be able to say, we won together. Ike Nation, we have graduated to the next step. It's the beginning of a long road to another destination, but we've attained a new step. We've attained a new level. We've attained legitimacy in a big way. And the journey to get there, when you think back on it, it's humbling. It's humbling, to say the least. I couldn't be more excited. It's the thrill of a lifetime, my friend. So tune in Thursday. I'll quit teasing it. I'm speaking from the heart, though. I'm not trying to. This is not drama. You'll find out on Thursday. I hope to see you there, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Have a great day. Remember, it's not time to back down, my friends. We're just getting started. It's time to double down. The truth matters, and it is worth defending, and it takes each and every one of us. Have a great day, and long live Charlie Kirk.
Rate, subscribe, and leave a review. It's how we get the word out amidst the chaos. Thanks for listening to the Ike Wingate Show.